concerned do you think Pentagon leaders are about becoming involved in something that is escalating in potentially this shooting war with Iranian proxies?
I think the concern is quite large and quite justified because America's vital national interests are best served by making sure this does not escalate beyond the Gaza Strip. And of course, we now see all these issues going on in the Red Sea, in the areas around it. We see in Iraq and in Syria where our troops are. And of course, the biggest concern is potentially Hezbollah attacking Israel from the north, especially as they get further into the south part of the Gaza Strip. And all of those things could cause havoc for the region, and anything that draws the United States in is going to just potentially draw us into another war that we absolutely cannot have. And I think it's important that you see the Secretary of Defense and other senior officials really do put a lot of pressure on Israel to rein in some of these attacks that are killing so many civilians, because that is the key thing that could undermine Western support for Israel, make things even worse among those who are trying to attack them.
Let's talk more about the Israel-Hamas war. Israel has now expanded its military campaign to southern Gaza, as we've been reporting this hour. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu vows to continue the war, quote, until we achieve all its goals. What do you make of how Israel is now approaching this next phase of the war since the ceasefire stopped?
Well, listen, I think that there's a mismatch between their stated political objectives and their tactical operations, what they're trying to do to accomplish it. Your correspondent said just a second ago that Israel was trying to do the same thing in the south that it did in the north. And as you can see with your own eyes there, the population density is so much higher now in the south than it was in the north, and there's already at least 15,000 people have been killed. But the bigger issue is, though, that Israel doesn't appear to be careful at all in what they're attacking. They're just literally leveling entire city blocks, meaning that even if they succeed tactically in destroying Hamas, there's nowhere for all these people to live, and the situation is just going to be even more dire, even from things like disease and other kinds of illnesses, that there's no hospitals. People can die from that as well as the other. And global public opinion could turn against Israel and could keep them from achieving their objective of being peace. And I'm telling you that from what I've seen my own eyes in the Middle East and other combat, when you kill a lot of innocent people, you create many more enemies than you take out. And I just don't think that they're going to succeed, bring peace by the use of this weapons.
So Secretary of State Blinken is making it clear that the U.S. wants to minimize that civilian suffering, especially as the IDF moves into southern Gaza. He called on Israel specifically to create safe zones. This is for civilians near the fighting, and we've seen that grid that kind of lays out different areas within Gaza. So are safe zones an effective way to minimize civilian deaths? What else is needed? Do you think that does anything?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that Secretary Austin's comment was spot on when he said you could have a tactical success and a strategic loss if you don't change your tactics and do these things, for the very reason I just laid out there. These issues of safe zones, really, I mean, it doesn't really mean much, because you've seen that they told them to go, the Palestinians to go from the north down to Khan Yunis. Now they're telling them to leave Khan Yunis, but there's no escape routes. They don't know how to get to some of these places. They can't get to some of them because of these rubbled areas where you can't even physically get through, and they don't know what's safe for now, and it could be unsafe an hour from now. So it's really just nothing but confusion, and it's not effective at all.